Hi everyone, it's Tracy here. I wanted to come on today and talk to you about triggers. There's a lot of words out there from therapy that people are understanding now on a surface level. So people generally know what a trigger is when somebody says something that triggers you, and people might even understand what's going on in the body. But I wanted to go a little bit deeper about what triggers actually are from my perspective and in my opinion and training, what triggers really are, so you can start to really understand what's going on and then how and why I might be able to support you with healing. And the best way I can show you this is by using the horses that I use for family constellations therapy. And I actually use them for a few different things because I use the structure of family constellations for a lot of things. And so this is a great way to show you, which is why I've got the table here today. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a horse that represents me here and now as my present self, and that is today in this very moment. So I choose a horse that best represents that, and I'm going to pop it into the field. And the field is the table in front of me. So that's where I am at this point today in this very moment. Now, when I'm triggered, if somebody says something to me, if we're having a conversation, and I'm going to keep it very bland so that I don't trigger anyone right now, because that's an unfortunate gift that I have, is being able to tell a story and trigger people. So I'm going to keep it very bland. We're going to talk about colors, okay? So if I have a trigger and the color yellow is really difficult for me, if somebody triggers me, if the word yellow triggers me, it's not my current day self that's being triggered, because in my current day, I have wisdom, I have knowledge from the age that I am, I have all of my training that tells me that somebody saying the word yellow is of no threat to me whatsoever. However, something happens viscerally in my body. So what part of me is actually being triggered? What is a trigger? What's happening there? And people will talk to you about your nervous system and how that is the response that you're having in your nervous system. It is a nervous system response when you have that really visceral moment where you feel something happen. So what's actually going on there? I'm now going to choose a horse to represent yellow in my life and where yellow began. So I choose the horse that represents yellow now, and I place it in the field. As you can see, which is a pretty good indication by the size of the horse that I've chosen, this isn't my current self. When I'm being triggered, like I said, I have all the awareness and all the training and all the knowledge that I have. But if I get triggered, it is from some time in my past, when something has happened to me that has been a trauma. And remember that in family constellations work and in my training in holistic counseling, trauma does not have to be something absolutely massive like an event trauma. It doesn't have to be something major that's happened to you. It can be an unmet need from childhood. It can actually be a trauma. If my unmet need is yellow, okay, we're staying with colours. I don't want to trigger anyone. That's not the point of this exercise. If my unmet need is yellow from childhood, and somebody sits there and talks about how amazing yellow is in their life and how much they love yellow and feel good about yellow, if I have an unmet need that is yellow in my life, that is going to trigger me massively, okay? It's going to be a huge one, and I'm not going to be able to concentrate. My mind is not going to be in the present. I'm actually going to be a long way in the past. So what that means is that the yellow is actually a small part of me. So what happens in childhood? I have the unmet need. For some reason, and this is not to blame parents, anyone who has done family constellations with me knows that I do not fault parents at all for their behaviours, because we look systemically and there's so much that's been handed down, it's not funny. So this is not a judgment. I don't sit in judgment of anyone ever in this work. My unmet need is yellow. So I needed yellow when I was a child, and my parents, for whatever reason, were unable to give me yellow. So if that's a real trauma for me, and if it's something that really happened, and I here is this little person, and I go, I don't trust you as an adult because you are not meeting my needs. Therefore, my inner child goes within. When you don't feel safe, when your needs aren't being met, the child goes within the psyche, separates from the whole self that you came in as. We come in as a whole soul. Do you remember that picture I did about you come in as a whole soul and then you have your unmet needs? Well, what happens when you have an unmet need, when the dent happens, it is that you needed yellow in your life. Your parents weren't able to give you yellow, so that part of you goes within, breaks off from the psyche, and this little part stays out here with the unmet need of yellow, and you become the big one. And that's when children start acting out and pushing boundaries and trying to take over the parent role, because they say, I'm not safe as the little one. When I'm the little one, my need for yellow is not met. Therefore, I'm going to become the big one. And when I'm the big one, nobody can tell me what to do and I will be safe. Sounds like a plan. But what happens is we grow up to be our adult self today. This is me in the very here and now. And I've still got this little bit of me out here. This is the inner child. And they've never had the need of yellow met. So I may go around my entire life through all of my ages up to now going, I really, really want yellow in my life. And I might go around looking for people, other people, to feel my need for yellow, going, can you please give me yellow? Can you please give me yellow? And honestly, insert anything you need to for the word yellow. If this is all sounding familiar, insert your own word in there. You'll know what it is that you need. But like I said, I'm not here to trigger anyone today. That's not the point of the exercise. It's understanding and education. I go looking for other people to give me yellow. Why can't you give me yellow? And the key to healing, this is the key to healing triggers, and I'm putting a course together at the moment to take you through all of the steps to do this kind of healing, to really, really make big progress in your life and be able to sit in the presence of anyone and not be triggered anymore. I would love that for all of you, and it's something I've worked on for many, many, many years now, and I want to be able to offer that to people. So I'm putting something together now, so stay tuned for that. But this is the explanation. This is the visual representation of what's going on. So I can't get yellow as this here, me here and now, until I bring back this part of me that is separate from me. Yeah? So what has to happen is healing has to occur from my current self, and I need to heal and bring back my little self, and they need to be together. And that's a process that I can show you how to do and support you in. When I'm triggered, when somebody's sitting there and they're talking about yellow and I'm being triggered, what's actually happening is, like I said, it's not me in the here and now, my adult self that's being triggered. It's this little one that's being triggered. And when this little one is separate from you in your psyche, what happens is it's this little one calling out, going, oh my God, she's talking about yellow. Oh my God, he's talking about yellow. Oh my God, we can't do yellow. Oh my God, yellow, yellow, yellow. No yellow, we've got to get away from yellow. That's what's happening in your body. That is the response that you have in your nervous system when you're triggered. It is the little one, the little traumatized one out here, calling out to you, going, I don't feel safe right now. You need to keep me safe. And the problem is, we go, just change your mind. Just think positive. Just don't think about yellow anymore. Let's do some CBT or something like that, which is, cognitive behavioral therapy and talk therapy are really useful for some things. But unless you're doing work to truly heal the trigger, you are not going to be able to shift out of this space. Healing needs to be done at the root cause. It doesn't mean you go back and you feel and experience the trauma. That is the opposite of what we do. But there are ways that we can bring this inner child back, heal you and integrate this, so that when someone sits there and talks about yellow, we feel safe. We feel like we belong, because we do. We're not alone, because we've integrated and we have a beautiful relationship here again. There's not a little one out here screaming, yellow, I don't feel safe around yellow. There's this. So what that means is, when you heal your triggers, that you're able to be more present in your relationships with friends, with your children, and with your partner, and with your family and your parents. This kind of work, this is the starting point of really starting to heal. Like I said, there are more steps, but this is the most important one to understand. Because when you're able to do this, all of your relationships change and you become present. The people who trigger you most in life are your children, because they're the literal age of the inner child that is probably calling out for their needs to be met. And if your needs weren't met when you were younger, how are you meant to meet their needs at this current stage, your children's needs, when they weren't met for you when you were younger? This is how important this healing is. It can change your relationship with your children, and children are extraordinarily triggering creatures in our lives because they bring our unmet needs to us. The next most triggering people in your life is usually your partner, because you have vibrated together with the same unmet needs. And if you haven't done this kind of work, you're going to be fighting with each other, going, you need to give me yellow, and the other one's going, well, you need to give me yellow. And you're trying to give each other yellow, and it's never working. And it's never working because this little one is out here screaming, yellow is not safe. We are not going near yellow. Stop it with the yellow. And we'll shut it down. When this is integrated, we can then give yellow to other people, and we can receive yellow from other people. Yellow can be brought to us because we are now healed and able to accept it. Okay? Again, insert yellow with any of the things that you've got going on that trigger you right now. So your children are a trigger, your partner are a trigger, and the next biggest triggers are your parents. And that is because they were literally the ones who didn't meet your needs. But the thing, we needed to do a lot of healing around our parents, because we can do work with our children and we can do work with our partner, but there's a lot of times where we can't do healing work with our parents because it's a generation away and they're not going to change the way that they are. So you have to make sure you do your healing of your inner child, and then you can stop blaming them for all of the problems that you've got in your life. Whenever you're blaming somebody else for your triggers and your circumstances, and this happened to me because my parent did this, you are not in your power. Your parents are holding your power, and you are sitting in a place of being the victim. And if that's where you're comfortable, then good luck. It's not a very nice place to be. I know her well, and it has not served me well at all to sit there. But because of the healing work that I've done, I know that that's my go-to place, is to go and sit in victim. But I have all these tools now to be able to bring myself out very, very quickly. It's not a place where I stay and dive in and will sit there for a long time. And that's what I want to be able to offer you. And that's why I'm putting this new course together, and look out for that. Because I want you to actually have all the tools that I have, as to be able to bring them out as and when you need them, so that you don't keep repeating the old patterns again. Old patterns show up as an opportunity for us to grow, and we all know that. But what are the keys that we need? What are the tools that we actually need to do the healing so that it doesn't actually show up again and to move forth? And they're the things that I can help you with. Family constellations is a beautiful way to understand where the patterns have come from down the family lines and in the ancestral family tree. And what that also does is it takes the pressure that you've put on your parents, blaming them for everything that's happened. You actually walk away with compassion for your parents and understand that they were doing the best that they could, which we all understand on a mental level, but this brings it to a depth that is quite extraordinary. if any of this sounds really interesting to you, if it's brought up an aha moment, and I'm sorry if it's triggered you in any way, if it has, reach out. That's what I'm here for. This is the work that I do. I really am very passionate about helping people to heal their triggers so that you can live your life free, to be more present, to follow your goals, to have beautiful relationships, to build deep connections. And that is something that I really want for everyone. And you can't do that if you're unhealed. So shoot me a DM, book with me via my website. I would really love to help you.